Welcome to the first episode of the cast dedicated for AskiaVista AJAX. In this episode, I want to show you how to make some basic crosstab into a simple HTML page. My environment is ready to use with AskiaVista 5.3.5.0 and the example survey EX. I'm using the free version of Visual Studio 2010, but you can use a simple text editor such as Notepad. Firstly, we have to include some script library into the header for our page. And the first script library to include is a jQuery library, which is a pretty nice AJAX framework. And AskiaVista is based on this framework. So if you're not familiar with jQuery, I recommend you to check out the website at www.jquery.com. So the jQuery file is stored into AskiaVista Reader scripts folder, and the jQuery.js file is the name. The second script to include is AskiaVista, which is a plugin of jQuery. So by convention, a jQuery plugin is prefixed by jQuery.and then the name of your plugin. So there it's AskiaVista.js. So now we can do our first crosstabs by adding a script into the body of our page. Using the new HTML techniques and especially the unobtrusive JavaScript, you have to separate the JavaScript code into a separate file, but here for convenience I will just write the script inline. So to display a crosstab, we have to call a display method into the AskiaVista object. This display method accepts just one single parameter, which is a hash of pair key value, and the first required key is the name of the survey. After that, you have to indicate which question you want to use in rows, column, or ages. To define this question, you have to use their shortcut. So to find the shortcut, you can go to AskiaVista, but here be careful because into the survey structure there, you don't have a shortcut of the question, but a short caption of the question. This is default settings. So in AskiaVista, you can go to the administration mode and then into the survey, and just here make sure that you have the shortcut of the question into the tree view. So there we go, and then you can reopen your case file in order to refresh the survey structure, and then we have the shortcut of the question. So we will focus on these three first questions: gender, age, and profession. So going back to our code page and then into the rows, we will begin by the question gender. So then I will just write the shortcut of the question, and then we can test our page to see if everything is okay. And normally it should not, because we have an alert message which says to us that there is something wrong. In fact, AskiaVista and AskiaVista AJAX run under a high level of security. So in order to do a crosstab or whatever into the AskiaVista and AskiaVista AJAX, we have to authenticate user first. So to do that, you have many ways to authenticate user, but here I will just use just the explicit authentication by just adding a jQuery.blockui.js into the header of the page. This plugin will create for me just a login form, and which asks to me a credential. So I will just include the script. So it's jQuery plugin, jQuery.blockui.js, and then just hit reload on the page. So there I have the login form. And here you can use the same credential that you use into AskiaVista. So there we go, and we have our crosstab. But the layout of this crosstab is not pretty nice. We haven't border, we haven't a number alignment, and so on. So to fix it, you can just include another file into the header, which is a CSS file. So this CSS is stored into AskiaVista Reader, and the name of the CSS is tabstyles.css. So there we go. Reload your page, enter your credential, And then we have a nicer cross tab, so with a border, italic, bold, and the number alignment. Now I want to make a more advanced cross tab by crossing two questions. So I want to cross the question age, for example, so in rows, and the question by the question gender. So I will put it in columns. So now we can test our page, and then it asks to me the credential again. So it's really hard to test if each time I have to enter my credentials. So to fix it, we can just include another JavaScript file into the header of the page, which is a jQuery plugin again, which is jQuery.cookie.js. This plugin allows just AskiaVista to store the session information inside into a cookie. So there we can just reload your page and re-enter your credential for the last time. So there we go, we have our cross tab with the question gender and the question age. And if we hit reload on the page, it doesn't ask to me the credential again. Now I want to make a more advanced cross tab again by adding a question in ages. So I will add another key, which is ages, and put the question gender on it. I will move the question age into the columns and just add a question profession into the rows. So put a comma to separate the key. And then it will load on the page, and we have a nicer cross tab with a man, woman, and age, and the profession. But this cross tab is really hard to read because we have a lot of information into just one table. So I want to break my table into two tables, one table for the man and one table for the woman. To do that, you can go to AskiaVista, and then we will create a new cross tab settings to break our table. So I will add a new settings, which is break ages, and then into the settings under the break tabs you have an option which is one page per response in age. So just check it, save the settings, and going back to our page to define the settings. So there I will just add a new key, which is a settings, and I will just indicate the name of the setting, which is break ages. So the break ages will create two pages, one page for the man and one page for the woman. So to display these two pages, I will just add a new title there, just to indicate about which table we speak about. So one for the man, and I will just copy and paste this code to have another table for the woman. And for the woman, I will just indicate that I want to display the second page. So to do that, we have to add a new key again, which is a page, and the page key is the index of the page, base 0. That means that the 0 which will display the first page, the 1 will display the second page, and so on. So here I want to display the second page, so I'm setting 1. And that's it. We can just reload our page. So there it is. So reload the page to force the browser cache, and then we have our cross tab with one table for the man and one other table for the woman. So that's it for this episode. Into the future episode, I want to show you how to authenticate user differently using another settings, and how to make some cross tab by using a portfolio or profile question, and so on. So that's it for the moment. I hope you enjoy.